It is Suzuki Swift Sport, hybrid time, AKS exhaust. What makes this car so spectacular? Especially in this modern day and age, in my opinion it's quite simple. Namely, it is high tech, meaning it is extremely stiff but very low weight. And that makes it very special. And why is that? Because cars are becoming heavier and heavier. Also electrification makes cars even heavier. Also this car has been made heavier by electrification. It's a little bit too hard a turn. Sorry for that. And we're back. So electrification of course makes cars heavier. Why is that? Because the batteries are quite hefty, and also you have to have different systems in place, because you don't only have the ICE internal combustion engine, that's for example in this case is using gasoline for power, but also the electric engine system in place. The other reason why cars are becoming heavier and heavier is based on sorry for that. Must be quite amusing. The other thing is that cars are becoming safer and safer. So safety systems add additional weight. Stronger cars, more safety equipment like airbags, etc. all add to the weight. And lastly, people want more luxury, more premium materials. Also, for example, heated seats. This also has heated seats. And safety systems such as ABS system, traction control, etc., etc. all add to the weight of a car. Also, cars are becoming bigger and bigger with each generation. The same with the Suzuki Swift Sport, which is a little bit bigger than its predecessor. If you look at the interior room, if you look at the exterior, it is quite awesome what they did to make this car so roomy for a compact outer dimensions, and that's also the trick that Suzuki applies. So in the future cars will become heavier and heavier, and this is an extremely light car, and an extremely light car makes it very nice. It's also a car that normally drives very simplistic. So for example, I mentioned this is also partly electrified. It is a hybrid system, but a hybrid system never goes shifting to complete electricity. No, it is just there to support the internal combustion engine. And thereby you never feel that the hybrid system is changing. Oftentimes when you have a hybrid system, then you feel that the electric engine is kicking in, then you feel that the gasoline engine is kicking in, then you feel them both. And this is quite smooth and fluent in the Suzuki Swift Sport. And even the hybrid system, in my opinion, is a great benefit for its simplistic nature, because Suzuki is always there to make it easy, real life economy, light cars. And by adding a hybrid system, for example, I'm now releasing the accelerator, and what happens, the car is regenerating energy, so the energy from the movement is put back into the electric engine, and then it works counterclockwise and puts it back into the battery. So you get a little bit more oomph, mileage, whatever you want out of your motion, so out of your penny that you put into it, or dollars or euros, whatever you have, you get a lot of benefit out of that. And the weight that is added is quite minimalistic, what they did. And they placed the weight also extremely low, so you have even better center of gravity than the regular Suzuki ZC33S, so this generation Suzuki Swift Sport. And you have a lot of additional luxury. So for example, now you have a stronger gearbox to begin with, you have a rear facing camera, you have a digital display completely working also with the speed. So you get a lot of additional goodies with that. The engine is even more silent than it was before the hybridization, because now it also has a gasoline particle filter that could be boo boo. Of course it can, but it also gives you the can opt for a lighter weight exhaust system while still maintaining a decent noise level. So for example, if you have calls for your work, business, I also use this as my business car, it's still suitable with a HKS high performance spec L, and L stands for lightweight exhaust system. So you can gain or erase some of the weight increase again by adding a different exhaust system, which you could also have done with the regular ZC33S, so the non-hybrid 1.4 turbo, but then the sound would be increasing and increasing. So the GPF helps, also keep the sound down. For the enthusiast, it's often not the best thing, but it adds to the nature that you can use it both as a business car, so it should have a respectable noise level and you can be quite stealthy, but you can also enjoy it at full song. And that makes this type of car one of a kind. So we mentioned that lightweight is an important factor, but the other important factor is that the Hothatch is going extinct. So if you look at Hothatches, you see that most manufacturers have stopped making Hothatches. Even in the A segment, B segment, C segment even. So for example, you still have the Golf GTI, but not Astra anymore, not 307, 308. You are quite limited in the amount of Hothatches that is still there. And why is that? Because of regulations. They want to penalize cars which have more output of CO2, so are less efficient, and by doing so they are taxing the cars that have that proprietary technology to have all that performance, be taxed to the roof, and by taxing them to that extreme amount they are destroying this segment. So you keep ultra sports cars or sports cars in place because oftentimes those people are quite wealthy to begin with, so they can, even though they are taxed and bleeding from the taxation enormously, even more so if you look at absolute numbers than GTI Hothatch owners. If you look at the relative increase, that's still not so much as in the Hothatch game, and that makes the Suzuki Swift such a spectacular car. And why is that? Because even in its normal configuration, 1.4 turbo, it's quite frugal. It's also very light, which also helps of course, but especially in this mild hybrid configuration you get less taxes because you have less fuel consumption, and that makes it such a fantastic car. And it's also still extremely light to begin with. So taken into consideration, that makes it so extremely special. And I also think, like the MX-5 of Mazda, which is very much treasured by Mazda, Suzuki is very much treasuring the Swift. Once they stopped producing the Swift, as you might know, they replaced it with the Ignis in Europe, which was still Swift in Japan. But they came back from that conclusion because they really missed this little car. This was so much of a foundation car for Suzuki that I expect them to continue this. And they also are making a new Suzuki Swift at this moment, which also includes the Swift Sport again. So I expect again a hybridized system, perhaps even more electrically supported, but they keep making it. So that's a very good thing to keep into mind. And with the Suzuki Swift Sport also you get these very cool seats, which are really hugging. You still have the back room, which is extremely beneficial environment to begin with. So with some sporting details, all those red details. Still a manual shifter, which is also fantastic, of course. That's also a nice car, that A1 of Audi. So that makes it. Let's see. My car doesn't want to do what I want it to do. So look also at the body kit. And still you have also this seating arrangement. which offers 5 seats in a miniature package, as you can see. Look how it looks.